Good evening. This is the video newsletter for Buy Sell Short for Thursday, January 6th. Major indices are doing exactly what we want them to do right now, just like they did for most of December. Very little volatility, pretty tight range, enough to frustrate the crap out of shorts and bears, and enough of a dead market to keep speculative money flowing in small caps, which is all we really care about right now. We had a lot of economic data out over the last couple of days. Yesterday, the big one was the ADP jobs report. The ADP report sucks, in my opinion. However, one of the trends in it now, the ADP report showed 300,000 in new jobs created, private sector jobs. So that's probably the best showing we've seen in many years. And we've got the weekly claims report, I believe, is at 2 year lows. Still a lot of jobless out there, to be sure, but the trend is getting better and better, and we'll get a better idea on what the actual number is tomorrow. We had retail sales come out today, worse than expected. Snowstorm and big rains on the West Coast in December really didn't help matters. But the market was sort of able to shrug that off. And actually, if we check out the US dollar, you can see over the last 3 days, the dollar's actually been in an up move, and the market has really ignored that. We've sort of, slowly treaded higher after that big pop on Monday, and we've been doing pretty well since then. Speculative money has really been flowing. As you can see per the 15-minute chart, support right now is 10,600 to 650, weather 200-day moving average. But going into tomorrow's session, RSI is trying to break 50. We've got stochastics at 50, and MACD is positive. So just going off the chart, if we get a good jobs report tomorrow, we're going to see another test of the highs. Also, looking at the daily chart, the fact that we're up here at 11,700, we are overbought to be sure. However, everyone and their mom right now is saying the market's overbought, it's going to tank, they've been shorting, blah, blah, blah. The market never does what the most think. The most think a retrace. We're up here within, a 1 day rally of 12K. Let's see if we can get 12K first. As you can see, volume has started coming into the Dow after that pitiful showing we saw, especially into late December. SMH looking very, very nice here. We're riding that 20-day exponential, 3247, and we got a little pickup in volume today. And looking at the indices here, we've got that nice bounce off the trend line on stochastics. And if we get this is essentially a rectangle formation that's in place here. I should have drawn the top line. A break of 33.25 would be a buy on the SMH with a target of 35. And a break of 33.25, there is no way this is going to break and the overall market doesn't break up with it. So we're going to continue to focus on the SMH. And that break of 33.25, we want to see a volume spike up to 10 million plus shares. So that is what we're looking for, and the indicators say it is a pretty strong possibility in the near term. Jumping into stock plays, phenomenal week for buy sell short plays. Even with the misstep we had on TRID, it's in the past now. We've made up for that. Plus some. The chat room, we were hopping today. We momentum stocks doing very, very well. One of the ones we jumped into in the chat room was CBC, laggard bank stock that had a very nice chart set up. We jumped into this one, 51 cents. Target was 60s, traded as high as 62. Next target here, 70 cents. These small banks have just been going. Actually, the financials in general have been on fire over the last few days. This one set up for continuation tomorrow. Another one that we jumped into that'll be very interesting to see how it acts tomorrow is FMAR. That break through the 50-day moving average at 55 cents could see us make a nice little move on this one. So keep an eye on FMAR tomorrow. Solar stocks were on a tear today, as were the alternative energy stocks. I told you over the last couple of days that we were seeing momentum start to come into the solar stocks and the alternative energy stocks. They were popping on my popper scan, and that's usually an indication that we're going to see some heat. Like a couple of weeks ago when I was starting to see a bunch of banks, small banks show up, and look what the banks have done since then. WEST, very nice spike on this one. We got as high as 59 cents, then a little shake in the close, which is pretty typical for this stock, and then a pretty strong closing here. We got a breakout. We didn't get that close above 55 cents, but we got a breakout. The solar stocks are likely to continue. EMKR, this is our other solar stock. We actually got that break finally through the 120 level. So let's see what this one does tomorrow. Remember, over the last 2 years, this is the week that this stock has gone boom. It's recovered nicely off the 200-day moving average. So let's see if we can get up there to the 50-day moving average tomorrow at 131. RSI's got a nice little uptrend in place. And stochastics is up through 20, which, as you know, is what I love to see on these bottomed out stocks. QTWW, this is another turdy alternative energy play. They sell fuel systems for electric cars. They also own a solar company. We almost got a breakout on this one today. Volume was decent, but this is a stock that needs volume, probably 2 million shares to break out. Our other alternative energy turd that we jumped into as a January popper pay, PLUG. This one broke that 39 cents, hit 49 cents on Wednesday or Tuesday. If this turd can run 30%, QTWW is definitely going to go on a little run here. Breakout 48 cents. Target 200-day moving average 56 cents. Stops 43, 44 cents, depending on your risk tolerance. CPST, this was one we jumped into yesterday on this very, very nice flag setup, and the way the chart was acting, moving averages, and as I mentioned, I thought the alternative energy stocks were going to go on a move. This one traded as high as $1.13, hit our first target plus some. Thinking we're going to see some continuation on this one. Whenever CPST goes on a run, it goes on a run for a few days. So we want to see this one continue. We've got nice volume. RSI still got some up room. Nice bounce off stochastics. We've still got lots of upside room on stochastics here. And the ADX is just bullish, bullish, bullish. Next target, 120. LVLT, sort of hemmed and hawed, finally broke out yesterday, hit our target on the nose for another fat little gain, 17% in, 3 days? You can't argue with that, especially on a high volume, tough to move stock like LVLT. We booked half gains on this one. If we get another break through $1.16 tomorrow, it's off to the races on this one. Next target, let me pull the chart out a bit. As you can see here on the chart, 120 is probably the level where I would look to add back the half position we sold with a secondary target 129, 130 plus. This is a stock that loves to run early in the year, so we still got lots of time for this one to go on a nice little run here. JSDA, Jones Soda, this one is on watch for tomorrow. We've got a very nice symmetrical triangle formation trying to break out here. Over the last couple of weeks, this stock has been riding three major moving averages, 200-day, 50-day, and 20-day exponential, has been riding this one higher. Breakout 130 here, and just looking on this symmetrical triangle, the measured target, you take the height of the highest point in the symmetrical triangle, so that is 50 cents. You add it to the breakout point, which is $1.30, and you get the measured target, $1.80. That's some target. I'm not looking for $1.80. I'd take $1.45 right now and then look to see what happens after that. But going off that, chart looks pretty decent. We've got all the moving averages, especially stochastics. When you see this happen on stochastics, you know how I say whenever I see stochastics come down, see the 50 level and then bounce again? I also like seeing it come up, hit resistance, retrace, and then come through it again. Typically, both of those things on a stock, especially when you've got an ADX with this very nice, strong uptrend, it typically is bullish for the stock. So keep a close eye on this one tomorrow for ads. That's pretty much it for the video tonight. If you can, come into the chat room. We've got lots of plays that we've been playing in the chat room that aren't good enough. Now, something we're going to be keeping an eye on for next week, and we'll probably start looking at them tomorrow. We've got a lot of biotech conferences next week. We've got I believe it's called the One Med. We've got the J.P. Morgan. They've got a biotech conference. So we possibly could see some biotech action over the next few days. Bios have actually been doing pretty well this week, so we'll possibly be looking to see if some momentum is going to move back into the bios next week. I'm sure I'm missing a couple of stock plays right now. If you've got any questions, just shoot me an email or hit me up in the chat room, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night.